I am Michael. I'm 41 years old, living in Melbourne, a father of 2 children. I've been married for 12 years and run my own small business. My life is now peaceful and fulfilling. But getting here wasn't easy, because 22 years ago, a single lie destroyed my entire past. In 2001, I lived in Adelaide. We were 4 siblings, an older brother, 2 younger sisters, and me. That year, on my 19th birthday, we had a small celebration. Our close family friends came over, including their daughter. She had grown up with us, someone I considered nearly a sister. A few days after my birthday, my parents sat me down. Their faces were grim, their voices icy, and they asked me one question. "What did you do to her on your birthday?" I didn't understand what was happening. Then I found out. She had accused me of assaulting her at my birthday party. I was in shock. It had never happened. But no one listened to my questions or let me explain. My family, my mother, my father, my siblings, stood by her side, without any evidence, without even questioning me. That night I was thrown out of the house. "You are no longer a part of this family," my father said. My mother didn't even look me in the eye. My siblings remained silent, like a wall. The people I had shared meals with for years erased me in an instant. I was cast out. At 19 years old, I was left penniless, without a phone, without any support. I walked to the nearest payphone. With my last coins, I called my aunt in Melbourne. My voice was trembling. Without hesitation, she said, "Get on the bus immediately, we'll meet you." That night, I walked to the bus station, left for Melbourne, and had to rebuild my life from scratch. My aunt and her husband gave me something no one else did: faith. They didn't blame me. They didn't ask what had happened. They simply said, "We are here for you." With their support, I stayed strong. I worked for my uncle, then started university. Years passed. I got married, changed my last name to my uncle's surname. I had children. And every week my family would gather at my aunt's house for dinner, because they were my real family. The people I once called family were absent for years. No phone calls, no letters. They acted as if I had never existed. Until 3 weeks ago. My aunt called. "Your father and siblings are here. They want to talk to you." I didn't want to go, but she convinced me. And when I arrived, there they were, older but familiar faces. My father, my mother, my siblings, all of them. They tearfully apologized to me. Turns out the girl had made it all up. She had only just admitted it. Upon learning the truth, they regretted everything. "Please forgive us," they pleaded. "Let's be a family again." I barely looked at them. I just said one sentence: "No." I stood up. My brother grabbed my arm and said, "Please stay. We are family." I turned to him and replied, "No, you are not. My family is my aunt and her family." I told them everything. I didn't invite them to my wedding. My aunt suggested it, but I refused. And I told them this: "You died to me years ago, and now I feel nothing. No anger, no sorrow, just emptiness. And in that emptiness, there is no room for you." If you've listened this far, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. After facing them that day, I didn't say a single word on the way home. I stared outside the car window, but I wasn't really seeing anything. The world outside felt dull compared to the storm raging inside me. When I got home, the kids were already asleep. Sarah was waiting for me in the kitchen, a hot cup of tea in front of her, silently watching me. "Do you want to talk?" she asked. I shook my head. There were no words because there were no feelings. I had expected anger when I saw them, but after all these years, what was left inside me wasn't anger. It was emptiness. A deep, hollow silence. That night, I couldn't sleep. As I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, Memories from years ago kept replaying in my mind. The day my father threw me out, the way my mother couldn't look me in the eyes, the silence of my siblings. That silence was sharper than any scream. It was a betrayal. I kept thinking, if we were truly a family, how could a single lie erase me? The next day, Sarah asked again, "What happened? Do you want to talk about it?" I could only say one sentence. They came after 22 years. They cried. They apologized. But I felt nothing. For the first time, my eyes filled with tears. Because feeling nothing, that was what gnawed at me the most. Anger, pain, resentment, they were all emotions, reactions. But feeling nothing? That was closer to death. I wondered if I should ever tell my children about this. One day when they ask, "Dad, who was your grandfather?" What will I say? Maybe I won't say anything at all, because some people don't even deserve a place in memories. A week after the confrontation, my aunt called me again. "Maybe one day you'll forgive them," she said. I stayed silent. I wanted to scream, but the words wouldn't come. Eventually, I just said, "For me, forgiving would give the past meaning. But what they did has no meaning, so there is nothing to forgive." After that day, I neither thought about them nor waited for them to call. But at night, sometimes that silence crept back. What if I'm wrong? I asked myself. What if people really do change? What if they are truly remorseful? But then I reminded myself, a person can judge a stranger, but family questions and listens. They don't judge. And my family never questioned me. They executed me without trial. And now I no longer recognize their judgment. My family is made up of the people who loved me at my weakest. My aunt, my uncle, my wife, my children. That is my true lineage. I don't know what will happen from now on, but I do know this. Those who buried me once don't deserve a second chance, because I crawled out of that grave on my own, and now there is no space left for them inside me. If you were in my place, how would you react to family members who abandoned you for years? Let's discuss in the comments. I will never forget the first day I arrived in Melbourne. On a cold night, I stepped off the bus at the terminal with only a single bag. In that bag, there were a few clothes, some books, and a crushing sense of disappointment. When my aunt met me, I hugged her but couldn't hold back my tears. "From now on, everything will be okay," she said. But I struggled to believe her, because in a single night, I had lost my family, my home, my past, everything. The first few months were tough. Every night, as I lay in bed, the same thought ran through my mind. What did I do to deserve this? I questioned myself, cursed myself, felt ashamed. Even though I had done nothing wrong, my family's silence had dressed me in guilt. That's why the anger inside me wasn't just toward them. It was directed at myself, too. My aunt and uncle gave me more than just a roof over my head. They gave me faith. My uncle ran a carpentry workshop in the city. "Come work with me," he said. Until then, I had never even hammered a nail. But waking up early and heading to the workshop became a kind of therapy. My hands grew calloused, but my soul began to heal. After a while, I rented a small room for myself. Everything was simple: a bed, a desk, a chair. But that small room became my own universe. At night, I would turn on a lamp and read, feeling like I was rebuilding myself. One day, the idea of starting university came to me. My aunt supported me. "Go, study, build your own name," she said. I worked, studied, persevered, and whenever things got hard, I reminded myself, don't forget yourself the way they forgot you. Years passed, and I became a master in the workshop. Then I started my own small business. I finished university. The first money I earned from my work, I used to gift my aunt and uncle a vacation. That day, all I saw in their eyes was pride, and that was worth far more than any apology. I met Sarah at university. I told her my past, every detail. I didn't hide anything. She listened, stayed quiet, then held my hand and said, "You chose who you wanted to be, and that's why I choose you." At our wedding, my aunt's sons were my groomsmen. Not a single person from my birth family was there. I didn't invite them, because they were my past, and I was building my future. When my children were born, I didn't carry the traces of my past into their names. I left my old surname behind. I now belonged entirely to a new lineage, my own. Some people can't face their past. I did. And then I buried it. Today I am a father, a husband, and a man standing on his own 2 feet. But the man I am today is the result of the battle that began on that cold Melbourne night. That's why I will always teach my children this. Your real family is not the one that gave birth to you. It's the one that reaches out when you fall. And if one day they ever find themselves alone, I will be their aunt, their uncle, and their shield. What do you think I should have done in this situation? Share your thoughts in the comments. In the bow. 3 weeks have passed since that confrontation. My father's tears, my siblings' trembling voices, they still echo in my ears. But inside me, there was no response. No part of me whispered, maybe. Because some fractures can't be healed just by time or honor alone. Since that day, my aunt has called a few times. She always spoke with a gentle tone. "Maybe forgiving them would be good for you," she said. I know her intentions aren't bad, but every time she called, I repeated the same thing. I have no family to forgive. I don't say this out of anger. I say it out of realism. Those people left me alone when I was 19. They judged a defenseless child and threw him out, and for 22 years, not once did they look back. Now, after a confessed lie, they come back and say, "We are still family." But that's not enough. They call for forgiveness to cleanse their past, but I have already built my own past, without them. When I watch my daughters, when I look into their eyes, I feel this. I broke the cycle. I know they will never experience the emotions I did growing up, because I will never ignore them. I will never abandon them. One evening, my eldest daughter came up to me. "Dad, don't you have a mom and dad?" she asked. With her little heart, she was trying to understand. I smiled. "I have an aunt," I said. "She was both my mother and my father." Then I added, "Real family isn't made by blood, it's made by heart." Did I take revenge? Maybe, but not by screaming or destroying, by quietly rising. Every success in my life is an answer to their mistake. By changing my last name, I abandoned their lineage. By raising my children without knowing their names, I erased them. And now, I leave behind a new legacy from the ashes of my past. One day, they may come back again. Maybe before they die, they'll want to see me one last time. But even then, I will only tell them this. You taught me about life, but not as an example, as a warning. And then, I will turn my back again. Because sometimes, not forgiving is the greatest freedom. And I am free now. If you enjoyed this story, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. If you've made it to the end, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this content.